Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome. I'm here with Mercury today. Um, he has been bugging me the entire day. And actually, I've been recording another message earlier, and I felt like I'm done for the day. I'd like to rest now. But Mercury keeps nudging me. And to be honest, he's getting on my nerves. So, and I know that he will keep on, tugging my sleeve. And usually he gets louder and louder and louder. So I decided to just do it, to just sit down and record another message. I could also tell that I was getting a headache, and actually there's some anxiety that's coming up, that's been creeping up from the moment I decided to record this message. And another thing I've recognized is that I was a little worried about my sound setup. Because I was sitting in my chair and table like all day, and so I decided to relocate into my cozy corner with my comfy chair and a blanket. And so my whole sound system setup is a little bit different than normally. And I was worrying, like, okay, is the sound still okay? And so there is this sense of wanting to do something right, getting something right. Maybe a little bit stressing too much about the circumstances, or how a setup is. Losing yourself in details about something you want to do. It feels like maybe it's a project. Maybe it feels like it can be anything, really. It could be like from a conversation with a certain person, or like I said, a project you want to start. Maybe it's a task within a project. Maybe it's plans that you're thinking about. Like it could be pretty much anything. There's this, like I said, this deep desire, or the feeling of, I need to get this right. Now I heard, okay. From Eminem, what was it called? Eight Mile. This one shot, one opportunity. Okay, you feel like you've got only one shot at something. It's something that feels very important to you, and you don't want to mess it up. You do not want to mess it up. This explains like the anxiety. I'm feeling so, like my heart is racing. My hands are a little bit sweaty. You are so nervous about something. Okay. And you're spinning your wheels about it. You are spinning your wheels how to make it right. And you are in this very, very big overthinking energy. And like I said, this is giving me such a headache. It feels a little bit like my head is about to explode. And I've been picking up on this stream of energy before. And the interesting thing is that this is another faceless reading. I feel like there is like a red thread, like a certain kind of energy that I'm picking up on, and those are the readings where I'm not showing my face. And I asked, because I could tell that Mercury was present, and I asked him, like, is this supposed to be a video or an audio? And he picked the audio. And he keeps repeating, there's something you cannot see. You are, okay. So there's like this one-sidedness of your senses. When you have a video, your senses get engaged in all different kinds of ways. Like you see what's going on in the video. Your visual senses are activated, but also your hearing senses are activated. But you are, like when you have an audio like this, you are only relying on one sense, which is your hearing. And you can imagine all kinds of things. Like I told you, I'm sitting here with my blanket in my chair, and like you can have this visual in front of your eyes, and you can like create this whole world in your mind only by relying on this one sense, like in this case your hearing sense, to like build this whole world. And this is something that you tend to do a lot. It seems like you're doing this a lot. And like I said, I can feel that this is an energy that's very, very heavy on the mental realm. So it's not just an overthinking energy. It's not just like, it's fueled by this sense of, okay, I have to get this right. This is very, very important. And this is why I need to get this right. And like I said, there's only like one shot. And it's like your mind is creating all those different scenarios, and you're like going through each and every one of them. And this is giving you a sense of security. And I'm feeling a little bit shaky while I'm saying that. Like my whole nervous system gets activated. Okay, so, all right. This is a way for you to co-regulate your nervous system. Interesting. This has a very calming effect for you. Like, it gives you a sense of control when you play out those different scenarios in your head. And it gives you the feeling of being prepared. Like, you're creating this illusion of when I just think about every possible circumstance, I can prepare myself for whatever comes my way. But the thing is, because you are relying like only on like, you're very heavily relying on one or two senses, you're completely missing out on like all the other senses that you have, or the resources you have, you could have. And so you only get like, it's very one-sided. I see the ship and it's almost drowning because it's so, like it's not balanced in the water. But one side seems like there's like all this heavy load on one side and it's too light on the other side. And it's coming dangerously close to the surface of the water. So if it goes any further, it will drown. There will water come in and it will drown. Interesting image that's coming through. So maybe this has some kind of significance for someone. It doesn't seem to be more significant for the message itself. move on. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, like this, you feel like you can gain clarity and security from playing things out in your head. And I do get... This can show up in different ways. Like for some of you are more like the analytical type, and you're like trying to calculate the outcomes. Others are a little bit more dreamy, and you're just like creating those different, almost movie-like scenes in your head. So those are two different flavors of the same energy. In the end, both of them are overthinkers. And it's giving you, again, the sense of security. And it seems to be something that you've been that you've done since you've been a child. It was a way for you to escape a reality that was unsafe for you as a child. And oh dear, this got so deep so quickly. And yeah, all right, this is so typically Mercury. He just catches you off guard. And okay, this is also something that came through in those other messages that I feel like are related to the same stream of energy. You need to be caught off guard because you're so deeply engaged in your mind that you tend to overlook your deeper states of feeling, of emotion, of also like your body. Like I can feel my whole nervous system is so highly activated right now, and I'm shivering. I can tell that there's a lot of energy. It's like stuck energy that's starting to move, not in a very pleasant way, to be honest. And I feel like, and this is giving me like a little bit of a sense of anxiety. And it feels like you've learned to work with that. You know how to cope with that energy, but it's still something that you're not entirely comfortable with. I mean, to be honest, who's really comfortable with this kind of physical reactions? It's not comfortable for anybody. But that's not the point. The point is that you know how to deal with it, you know how to get through it, and you know that if you do it, you will feel better afterwards. But because you're so good at using your mind as a powerful tool of imagination, envisioning, thinking, you sometimes use it as a tool to opt out of the need to work with your body, with your nervous system, with your emotions, and to dig deeper. So coming back to this childhood topic, there's something, and I heard lurking, there's something lurking in the dark. This is probably what it feels like for you. There's some kind of stored memory that's lurking from your childhood. And this overthinking, this creating of scenarios is a way to protect you from this very certain, this memory that holds, I heard a frequency. It's an energetic signature that got imprinted on you at a very, very young age. And this energy signature runs through everything in your life. It's been there for your entire life. And it is stored in a certain memory. Actually, there are many memories, but there's only one you need to access to find the source of it all. And if you're familiar with shadow work, this is one of like a very typical exercise that you are trying to access like the first memory of something, like the memory that's at the root of a certain belief pattern, behavior, protection mechanisms, certain patterns, and looking for finding and resolving the initial memory is a very effective way to do this kind of shadow work and to resolve whatever energy cord is running through your life. And this is very interesting because I didn't expect this kind of message to come out. I said at the beginning that I could tell that Mercury was trying to get my attention, and that I didn't really know what the message was about, but I did have a feeling of what it might be about, and it went in a completely different direction. And the funny thing is that there has been another reading where this happened to me with like the exact same stream of energy, the same part of the collective I'm channeling here for, where it was a guides collective that came in and pretty much hijacked the reading in order to make something visible for this collective, because they are, like they said, they're so good at reframing things and thinking things through in a way, or like they can change reality in a way that it makes sense to them and that helps them bypass doing the actual work. And this sounds pretty harsh, but I feel like you can take it. You feel like somebody who's able to take this kind of honesty, and you even more like you need this kind of honesty. You need people who are very, very upfront with you, because otherwise you are escaping. Yeah, there's this theme of escapism very, very present. So yeah, Mercury he's a messenger, of course, but he also has this trickster energy about him. And so it's very fitting that he would come through in this way. I feel like we're almost done here, but there's... Okay, he wants me to point out something. Like, you had a recent breakthrough. And like I said, I know what this collective has been working on, and it has been huge. It was a huge breakthrough. But it's not over before it's over. Mercury's words, not mine. It's not over before it's completely over. It's tempting to think, oh, now I understood this thing. I know what I know what this is about. I understand it now. But all the signals I'm getting here from my nervous system is telling me that there is more work to be done. There is, like, you have to dig deeper, and you have to restore this initial memory that holds the frequency of the energy that you have to, or you want to let go of. And it's not enough to just understand it. That was the first step. And you are somebody who has the need to understand something before you are willing to go into the very, very uncomfortable part, or how you perceive it as to be very, very uncomfortable. in order to be willing to go in there, you need to understand what's going on. So Mercury is saying that when you gained all the knowledge, that was pretty much the preparation phase for what's coming now. And that is the willingness to dive deeper, to go into your heart and to look what's there. And I can feel some confusion, some question marks of how to do that. And it's not that hard. It's pretty much simply ask the question and trust what comes up. This is another theme that keeps coming up for this part of the collective. You need to trust what comes up. Don't overthink it. And actually, I just watched an interview yesterday where they were talking about pretty much the same thing. And there was something said that I learned for myself to be very, very true for shadow work. It doesn't matter if the thing that comes up is true. It doesn't matter if the memory, the guidance, the images, whatever comes up, if that is quote unquote true. What's important is that this is piece of information your subconscious is giving you in order to find your way to the essence, the innermost truth. It's like when I'm channeling, at the beginning, when I started receiving messages and downloads and all kinds of guides and archetypes, goddesses started to show up for me and talk to me, I doubted it. Like I was so much in my head about it, and I always thought, how do I know that I'm not just making this stuff up in my head? And I learned through the process and just trusting the process and just going with whatever I got and just sharing it with other people, and receiving the feedback that it actually held a lot of valuable information and truth, and that it touched people in a very, very deep and surprising way, in ways that I've never could have anticipated, really. That I could develop the trust that whatever comes up is what's supposed to come through. And that in the end, it doesn't really matter if it comes from some part inside of me, or if it's some exterior guide that's giving me the information. And if Mercury, in this case, if he's even real, it doesn't matter. It's just a way of the universe to work through me as a channel in this case. It's just a way to work with me. And it's just a tool, basically. What really matters is that the right information is finding its way to you so that you can work with it and resolve it. And the same is true for your shadow work. If you ask the questions and a memory comes up, or maybe an archetype, maybe you will receive images or feelings or smells, or you'll hear something. Whatever it is you receive, take it and try to understand it. Try to feel into it. Try to listen to it. Look for the information that's embedded in this piece of whatever you receive. And it doesn't have to be quote unquote true. It doesn't have to be a real memory. It doesn't have to be a real archetype or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your subconscious is choosing this particular piece of transmitter to bring through a certain energy to you, a certain information that helps you on your journey. And in the end, it doesn't matter what helped you get there. What matters is that you get there. So this is bringing me back to this image of you are relying too much on one of your senses, and this is like your mind. And the mind is highly self-critical, and it's having a hard time of believing anything different that doesn't like fit its preferred logic. But in the end, the mind is also just a tool. Like everything else, it's just a tool. And you shouldn't let it in the driver's seat. And Mercury is laughing and saying, and this comes from somebody who's this comes from an archetype that basically is the mind. He loves the mind, but he also knows the shadow side of the mind. I know its limits. And this is making me so much more powerful, he's saying. So, yeah, I feel like that's it. You know what to do. Dig deeper. Trust. And try not to over-engage your mind in all of this. So I'm very curious if the other message is still going to come out. I guess so. I feel like we're not completely done with all of this. And I've got a feeling that Mercury is going to stick around a little longer. Usually he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve. I've been working with him for quite some time now, so yeah, we'll see. All right, I'm closing this out now. I wish you all the best with it. And if you found this audio helpful, you might want to check out the other ones on my channel that I brought through in this certain stream of energy. It's those with like the same thumbnail, only audios, not video audios. And yeah, if you found this helpful, you might also consider to subscribe or leave a comment or a thumbs up. And for now, I'm going to say goodbye, take care, and maybe, hopefully, see you in the next video.